Hello my fellow developers. In this video we're going to create the images preview grid, which is a component that will help us show the images that we uploaded. As we added the don't show preview here, so we're not going to be able to see them by these image upload components, so we'll have to create our own. So let's do that. So you can just go right here, so inside the components, inside the dashboard, and then you go to shared folder right here and create another file which is going to be called images and then preview and then grid.tsx. So right here it's going to take some props. So let's create the interface. So interface right here. So the component, we're going to name it preview image or images preview grid. Okay, so the interface is going to be images and then preview grid props. Okay, I always like this convention, just having the name of the component, then also adding the props or interface to the end. And the interface right here, the first thing is going to be the images. So the images we're going to pass is going to be an array of what? Of an object, which is just simply the URL string type. Okay, so the URL, which is going to be a string, because right here, if you remember, when we added the images, so let me just show you in this schema. This is very important because we're going to extract the images from the form. And when we extract the images from the form, it's going to be in the type that we had them right here, which is an object that has the property URL, which is a string. And the object is going to be an array of objects, as you could see right here. So that's why we are using it also this way. So let's actually continue. So this is for the images, and then after that we're going to have a function which is the onRemove, which is the same function that we used before to actually remove images using the image upload component. So as you can see, this is the onRemove. You see the type that we have right here for the onRemove, it's actually the same, just simply passing that value, which is the URL of the image, as a string, and then simply remove it, and then it returns nothing as it just deletes the image. So we're going to use that later. And then also for this component, we're going to need the colors, okay, later, not for now, but now let's just start. But in the next videos, we're going to use also the color extracting tool, so we need to pass the colors, etc. So for now, what I need to do, I'm just going to create the component. So I'm going to go const, and it's called images preview grid, okay. And this one, let's use fc as usual. We need to get the props right here, which is images previews props, and just simply this is an arrow function that returns, let's have an empty div for now. And then after that, let me just go, sorry, let me add this here, okay, like this, and remove this from here and save and go back at the end and export default and then the images preview grid. Okay, something is wrong with my keyboard. I don't know why it keeps doing this, typing letters I don't even type for some reason. So let's just go right here, let me extract the images, okay, and also the onRemove function. So now that we have our components, we need to style it, okay. But actually what I want to do right here is when we actually don't have any images, like let's say we are, you know, adding the images preview grid, but we don't have any image. What I'm gonna do in that case scenario is just simply I'm gonna show an empty image. I'm gonna show you. So if I go back to my public folder, all the files will be attached to this tutorial, or you can find them in the GitHub repository. Go to assets. I created a new folder that is called images. And then right here, you will see we have this image, and also we have this image right here, and also I have this image. Which images that you can use when you don't have like a product image, you can choose one of them right here to use it in your dashboard to show. So right here, we can do something like, let's say if the images that I have dot length, actually what I want to do something, I want to extract the images length first. So I can go and calculate the number of images. So I'm going to do it right here. So let's go lit and then images length here, and it's equal images dot length, very simple. I'm just going to keep the variable right here, and then simply we're going to check if the images length right here is equal to 0, okay. So that means we don't have any images. What I'm going to do right here is just I'm going to return a div, okay. So let's return a div, and in this div right here, I'm going to have an image tag. So let me import that from Next Images. I'm going to go to the top, switch these two and go up right here. And let's go with this one, React, and then also Next.js here. And then in this image right here, I'm going to add a source here. So for the source is going to be, let's actually import it from here so we can see. Let me just get the name that I had it right here. So I'm just gonna say import of the image shown when there are no images available, and I'm gonna go import and then no image. Okay, that's kind of a funny name, so I'm just gonna go no image right here from, and then we need to go up up, and then up again, and then up again till we are at the main path. And then we're gonna go to public right here, and then /assets, then /images. Then I'm gonna choose the no image too, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna add this in the source right here. And then in the alternative text right here, you could just leave it empty or have anything there. So we can say something, no images available. Okay, and then after here, I'm just gonna add the width property, which is gonna be 500. Also the height right here to be 600. And then also I'm gonna have a class name, which is gonna add the rounded medium. Okay, so rounded medium like this, and save. So that's why I've done that. So this is when we don't have any images. So I can add right here, I'm just gonna have space between them, and I can say if there are no images, display a placeholder image. So this is the placeholder image. And now I can actually take that and go back to my application, and let me just go back to my product details. So, and we could have it like inside the form control. I'm just gonna have the components here. Okay, so this is the component. And as you can see, it's going to ask us to pass the images. So for the images right here that we're going to pass are going to be the images that I have in the form. So to get that, you can use the form that we have, and use the function get values, and then it's going to get all the values, but you can select which values you want, which is going to be the images. Okay, and then after that, we need also to pass the on remove. On remove is just simply going to be the same as we have right here in our image upload. So I can just go and take the on remove here. This function, it's gonna take the URL of the image, okay, and it's just simply gonna go to our form and just filter it out. So I'm just gonna go and add it right here. So the on remove, and simply now we don't have any issues here. Okay, so if we have any other issues, let me just see. Oh, this is still with the handle submits, but for now, as you can see, for this component, the images preview, everything is fine. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna also take this form message. I don't want to enter the image upload, I want to have it right here. So under the components of the images preview grid, and I'm gonna also add a class name right here, which is gonna be margin top 4. I'm gonna make this important to make sure it applies. So that's it here, and let me actually see now. So what we have right here, it says React.children only expect to receive a single React component. Where did we actually return more than one? So in the form control right here, it should work, okay, without any problem. The form control can take more than one child. Maybe right here we made a mistake. So if the images, this is what we do, else we're not gonna talk about that now. But this is no issues right here. I don't know why I have this. Probably something that I didn't notice. So let me just actually just check. So right here I have the on remove. There is no issues right here in the image upload. There is no issue. So the form control should work, but if it just takes just one element, I think it take more, but if it just doesn't, so we can actually just go and actually take all the elements inside the form control. Maybe it just takes only one element, which is weird. So let's just have an empty tag right here and just do that, and that would probably fix it if that was the issue. Yeah, so it seemed that was the issue. So yeah, let's go with the 1, 2. So as you can see right now, we have the image right here, which says no product image available. But if we uploaded a certain image right here, and let's see what's gonna happen. So we upload an image, and I go done here, and as you can see right now, that image it disappears. Okay, because we only now have one image and we don't have 0. So that image only appears, English please. So that image only appears when we have no images, but when we have at least one image, it doesn't show. Okay, so that's the issue. Now when I refresh, when I don't have any images, I will have the image back again. Okay, so that's the first part of it. Now the second part is actually going through the images and mapping through them and just showing them in a nice grid. So we can go back right now, and let me go back to the images preview grid, and then this is the else part right here. And the else part right here, we're going to say if there are images, display the images in a grid. So we need to use the return statement again. And then we need to return a div. This one is going to have max width and then 4XL. Okay, like this. And inside of here, we're just going to have another div. So right here, another div, and we're going to add a class name to it. We're going to use CN right here. So we need to import that from the utils. And then the first class name, let me just check. So we're going to have grid. So we're going to apply a grid class name. For the height is going to be 800 pixels like this. And also we're going to have overflow hidden. And then after that, we're just going to have BG white here. White, I forgot to add BG, so BG white here. And then after that, we're just gonna have rounded MD. like this. Okay, and then we're gonna add another property. Okay, so we're gonna do that later, don't worry about that. So inside of here, because we need another class name that will control the grid depending, so it's like a class name that is going to be dynamic, a class name that is dynamic depending on the number of images we have. So for example, if I have one image, I'm just going to leave it normal, which is the normal class name that I have, grid. But I have two images, maybe I can apply a class that is called grid2, and I go to my style, and this grid2 will just simply split the component into two parts. This list for the image and the right for the other image. If we have two images, we can use grid and underscore 3. So like this, we just simply like this, we can have like grid1, so sorry, grid3 like this, and then if it's 4, we can apply the class name grid4. So this simply is going to be used to style the parents div, but don't worry about that now. Let's just continue and see where we're gonna go. So I'm gonna go with the images right now. I'm gonna map through them, get every single image here, and simply I'm gonna return a div here. So inside of here, we're gonna have div with the class name. So let's get the index also here. So the index, let's call it I. So for the index right here, I'm just gonna go add this before the class name. Never forget that. So key right here, which is gonna be an index here. So for the class name that I'm gonna have right here, also I'm gonna use cn here, because we're gonna apply some dynamic classes. So for this one, it's gonna have relative, and then also gonna have the class name group. I'm gonna explain that later. So the height 4, and then also the width to be 4, and then we're gonna have border, and then we're gonna have border gray 300 like this. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and then inside of here, I'm just gonna have this one is gonna be for the image. So this one is gonna be for the image now. And now let me show the images. So we are mapping through the images, and now it's time to show them inside that div. So we're gonna go image right here. So for the source right here, as you can see, when we map through the images, it's just gonna be an object which has the URL property. So we can go the image dot, and we can access the URL property. For the alternative, we can just leave it empty. For the width, I'm gonna make it 800 by default, and also for the height right here, I'm gonna make it 800, and then also after that, for the class name, I'm gonna apply the height or the width for, also the height for, and then I'm gonna have object cover, and then also I'm gonna have object top. So when it shows the image, is gonna fill the whole div which you have with 800 height and width, okay, because this is gonna take the full height and width of the parent div, and then simply it's gonna make sure that it shows us starting from the top. Okay, so that's it for the image right here. Of course, we're gonna have other stuff later, but for now, let's just actually see the changes. So I'm gonna go back to my application, and now let me upload an image, and let's see how it's gonna look. So for example, I choose this one, and I go done now, and as you can see, now I can see the image there. Okay, so that's the first thing. But now let's say I have two images. So when I go right now, and I have two images, and then done. So as you can see now, oh, what's going on? It just seems like to erase the previous one and replace it with this one. Oh, so we have an issue right here that I didn't notice. So guys, let me show you how to fix this. So I was trying to understand what's going on, and I've traced everything, and I compared it to my other project bit to bit, and traces it, console logged everything, tried everything to debug it, and it seems like I didn't have any issue with the code, but for some reason it just doesn't preserve the previous value in React Hook form. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So if you go back to our code, you're going to see a few changes because I've recorded a few videos. So don't worry about those. Just focus on fixing this issue and continue normally with the course, and you're not going to have any problem. Okay, so everything I've done here, you will see in the next videos. So the problem in the on change right here in the image upload, you can see we are trying to spread the values of the preserved field.value, but it doesn't preserve it. So this always going to be an empty array. And it's just simply going to add one element right here, which is URL with the value URL that we return here. Okay, like this, but this doesn't work. So let me show you how to fix this. We're gonna have a nice workaround around it. So I'm just gonna go, and then you can define a new state. So this one, we can call it like temporary state for images, and then just simply calls, and then images, and then set images. And then what did I make the mistake? Of course, I'm trying to type very fast, so I made a mistake. You define a state normally. Okay, and then simply right here you go with the use state here. So you define the use state, and then simply by definition or by default it's going to be an empty array, but you need to define the type here just to make things easier for you. So this one is going to be an array of objects, and the objects simply just going to be the URL property, which is a string like this. So this way how you define it. So this is nothing wrong right here. You can see the array disappeared. So now if you go down right here to our upload right here, image upload. So in the on change, so to make sure that this works, very focus with me very well, because this is going to be very nice. So what we need to do is use the set images, okay? Because if you know, the setters always allow us to access the previous value that exists there. You remember when we try to change the value from, you know, false to true or true to false, we always take the previous value and change it to the opposite, because it's always preserved just by accessing it this way. So this way now, if I go right now, this is the set images, I always have the previous images value right here without any problem. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and define const right here, which is gonna be updated images, and this one is just simply spread the values of the previous images, so I get access to them, and I just simply can add the URL right here, okay, as an object directly here with the value URL. And because it's the same name, we can just do it this way. So now as you can see, we get to the updated images that has the previous images that we can access from here without any problem. And then also we can add the URL here. And then at the end, now what I'm going to do is just use the fail.onChange, and I need to pass the updated images to it right here, and just simply return the updated images, okay, like this. And this is the workaround that's going to fix it. So the error disappears, just VS Code taking a bit of time to update. But as you can see right now, we're using this set images. All it does is just simply gonna update the images that we have and just simply change it right here in the state. So the updated images are gonna be simply always the images now is gonna be updated. So even though that the field.change is gonna work and is gonna update the images right here, it's also gonna update it in the temporary state. So you're always gonna have the value in the temporary state, but also you're gonna have it in the form values. So to make sure that it does have that, so right here in the images, you can just use form.getValues.images and it will work. Okay, and I went right here to the images preview grid, and what I did, so I added this class name, which is grid column 2, because let me show you if I removed it. So if I can go back right now and I can try to upload them, refresh. So if I go right now and then upload images and browse, and then simply try to update the image right here, and then simply done, you can see that the image is here. Now let me try to add a secondary image, and then I've done that. Now done, as you can see, it is here, but you can see it's under, so one under one, because we didn't work on the styling for this, which we're gonna do in the next video, because we haven't add anything. We just add this div that contains all the images without any styling. So right here, if we add the grid columns too, so now we're gonna have two columns, so we can see the image next to each other. So as you can see, this is the first image and this is the second, and we are now able to actually achieve what we want to and upload the images and save them in the form state. Okay, so that is cool. But as you can see, don't worry about these colors. As I told you, you may see few stuff that we didn't work on yet, but don't worry, because I've recorded and then came back to this part. Okay, and I'm gonna continue normally in the next video, gonna continue everything with the images, and then you will watch after that the colors, etc., without any problem. Okay, so just trust the progress of the course and you will never be confused, because everything is going to be one after one without any issues, so you don't have to worry.